team, and welcome to our first video all about getting started. Now in this video we are going to talk about what should be on your plate at each meal. We're going to talk about what you should start, keep and stop in terms of nutrition. I'll share some really simple how to get prep strategies, and we'll touch on hydration. So to begin with, I wanted to talk about how we build our plate when it comes to mealtime. So I encourage all of my clients to consider 4 main components when they're building their plate. So number 1, we've got our non-starchy vegetables. So that's things like your leafy greens, your pumpkins, your carrots, capsicum and zucchini for some examples. And then you've got your serve of protein. So that can be an animal or a plant-based protein source, which I'll talk about more in a minute. You've got your healthy fats, things like avocados, nuts and seeds, olive oil. And then of course you've got your carbohydrates. So we always want to be focusing on those whole food sources of carbohydrates where we can, things like your sweet potato, beetroot, and your grains like quinoa, brown rice, and of course good quality bread. So I'll take it back to that first component on our plates, and that's the non-starchy vegetables. Now we really want to be prioritizing at least 1 to 2 cups per meal of these, because they are full of nutrients and fiber, things that are going to give us energy and keep us full and actually help with our digestion as well. So I love, as a simple prep idea I suppose, is roasting up a whole big tray of vegetables on the weekend, popping them in a container and then adding them to my salad bowl throughout the week, either for my lunch or dinner option. Our second component I mentioned previously was our protein. Now, protein is often overlooked, particularly at breakfast time, but it's so important that we get between 20 and 30 grams of protein per meal across multiple times of the day. So making sure you're having that served with your breakfast, even if it's in the way of a good quality protein powder, at lunch, in your salad or your wrap or your soup with chicken through it, or tempeh or tofu, and then of course in your dinner meal. I find dinner is a really easy time of the day to get protein in, but breakfast is that little bit trickier. So some of my top tips, is to boil a couple of eggs, is to simply scramble some eggs with some spinach. And like I mentioned before, you cannot go wrong with a protein smoothie. So just making sure that you're looking for high quality ingredients, and if you have any questions, just shoot a message in the Facebook group and we can definitely assist you with some brand suggestions. Now, our third component to the plate is our good healthy fats. So you do not want to skimp on healthy fats. This is what keeps you full, and it's also incredibly important for your hormonal health. So I personally love avocado, so most days I will eat avocado, but it can be as simple as, cooking your veggies or your meats in some olive oil or coconut oil or some nice grass-fed butter. Nuts and seeds is a fantastic option as well. And just keeping in mind that when you're building your plate, if you are using things like cuts of meat like chicken thigh or salmon, that already actually includes some healthy fats. So just making sure that you're taking into consideration that as well. And then last, of course, is our complex carbs. I'm a big fan of roasting sweet potato and actually having that cool in my salad bowls or in my post-training meal, and it's a beautiful form of resistant starch, which is fantastic for our gut health as well. So there you see, it is quite easy. Just making sure that you've got those 4 components at every main meal time. That is what is going to keep you full for at least 3 to 5 hours. If you are skipping one of those components on your plate, make sure that you go back and check that you've got those components, because if you don't, it's likely that you'll be hungry within an hour or more. So that is our first topic of the getting started session. The second one is something that I like to talk all my clients through, and it's the start, keep and stop principle. So what are some things in your nutrition journey that you would like to start? So for you, it could be allocating 2 days a week to cook some vegetables. So that's something you can start. Something that you want to keep is maybe you are fantastic at drinking water. Tick, you want to keep that. And maybe something that you want to stop is potentially, buying too much takeaway or just eating mindlessly at night out of the pantry. So if you would like to write those down, share them with a friend or a family member, or pop them on the fridge and revisit those in a few weeks' time. That's a great idea. Now, I've already touched on some simple tips about getting prepped, but I wanted to share a few more of my personal tips. So I love to use the notes section of my phone. I have an Apple phone, and in there I write, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way to Sunday, and I share this note with my husband. So in those notes, I pop in what we're having for dinner that night and really anything else I need to prep. So because I have a little 15-month-old, I like to be quite organized. So I like to know, when I'm making his snacks or what snacks I need to get out of the freezer. So that's a really easy way to share, I guess, your meal calendar with a close, with a loved one or a partner. The other one that I like to do each week is what I mentioned before, is roast a tray of vegetables. I also love to make a frittata because I find this is just the easiest lunch option when I'm in such a rush. And what I'll do is I'll make that on a Sunday. I'll have that for lunch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I kind of front end my week with things that I've prepped on a Sunday to get me through to Wednesday. And then come Thursday or Friday, because I work from home, I'm very grateful to be able to fry up some eggs and chuck some spinach and mushies in there and have some avocado with it. But if you were working, in an office, then you could have like a simple wrap situation, or maybe you do want to allocate one of your lunches as a takeaway. So it's not all about being perfect, it's just about planning your week out, just to really optimize your health, because it's what you do most of the time that does matter. It doesn't matter if you have one bad meal, it's not going to make you unhealthy, just like having one good meal is not going to make you healthy. It's all about that consistency. Another thing that I do most weeks too is I will make 2 snacks. So I'll freeze these snacks. I like to make usually a loaf or a batch of Bliss balls, and something sweet and something savory I find is great for us, and it does last us then throughout that week. We can just grab it from the freezer and it'll defrost through the day in my lunchbox. So that's something I like to do, and there's heaps of recipes for great snacks that you can find on my website at theajane.com as well. So there's some simple kind of getting prepped ideas for cooking. And I think the one that makes the most sense is just go grocery shopping and fill your fridge with healthy food, because if your fridge is prepped and your pantry is full with food that is going to truly nourish you, then you're less likely to grab something that's less than ideal, or something that's probably not the best option because it's simply not there. So I'm a huge lover of good quality gelato, but I just don't keep it in my fridge because I know that if it's there, I will have it too often and it's not gonna make me feel good. So I'd rather go out and enjoy that gelato with friends or family, rather than having too many scoops each night and just feeling yucky after it. So that's something that I've discovered for me quite a while ago. So it's just those little things along your journey that you can discover for yourself and then start to implement. Now lastly is hydration. So as runners, we sweat. Our body uses our sweat to cool down, so we really need to be on top of our hydration. So for somebody who's active, it's at 2 to 3 liters of water per day. So that can include your herbal teas, which are fantastic options, and also your caffeine-free teas. So, like a caffeine-free dandelion chai. It's also a great coffee alternative, dandelion tea, and you can look for things like your flavored soda waters or low sugar kombuchas occasionally as well. So it's just all about making sure that you're sipping water throughout the day, and you really want to be making sure that your urine is that straw-like color. That is the best test for how hydrated you are. So if it's looking a little dark, pop to the fridge and get a glass of water, and just make sure that you are setting up stations all around the office or the house with fluids as well. And one of my top tips is in the cooler months, is a cup of bone broth. So that is just so good for your gut health, and is packed full of collagen and other nutrients that really does heal your gut. So I love to sip on a couple of cups of bone broth a day as well, and it's great to hydrate you through the sodium that it has in it. I will be touching on more about specific hydration strategies and how much electrolyte we should be aiming for in video 3 of this 3-part series. But I hope that you've taken something out of today's video, all about getting started. Once again, congratulations for joining the Her Trails team. And if you have any questions at all, please pop them in the Facebook community and tag me, and I'll respond there. Thanks, guys.